Good morning. You're listening to WIFO FM Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio, 105.5 FM. It is now time for the world-famous Butch and Bob Show for this 9th day of May, and it's brought to you by O'Quinn & Associates, Murphy Builder Supply, Van's Barbecue, and First Southern Bank.
Are you looking for an insurance company that you can call and talk to a live person? Are you looking for an insurance company where you can walk in and talk to an agent? Are you looking for an insurance company that offers multiple companies so they can try and get you the best rate? If you said yes to any of these, then you need to call or come by O'Quinn & Associates Insurance Financial Services. We offer multiple companies so we can find the best fit for you. Give us a call at 385-1000 or stop by our office at 212 South First Street right here in Jesup.
Since 1946, Murphy's Builder Supply has been serving the folks of Jesup, Wayne, and surrounding counties with quality products and knowledgeable service. Matter of fact, they feel they sell service first to make sure you get exactly what you need for your home improvement projects. And with each employee at Murphy's being there for 10 years or more, you know you're talking with someone with the experience to help you with building supplies, tools, paint, and all the things you need from a full-service hardware store. The best choice in home improvement is Murphy's Builder Supply, 156 Northeast Broad Street, Jesup.
When it comes to barbecue, Van's Barbecue in Jesup is the place to be. A small family-owned business located at 1876 on the Savannah Highway. Van's Barbecue has lunch and dinner specials. Stop by or call to make an order. The number to call, 427-3358. Van's Barbecue's new manager is Sarah Van. Van's Barbecue offers potato salad, coleslaw, baked beans, and don't forget their delicious mac and cheese. Also, check out their shrimp plates, the best in town. Yes, when it comes to barbecue, head to Van's Barbecue, locally owned and operated. Stop by and tell them the Big Dog sent you. Once again, the number to order, 427-3358.
Hi, I'm Raymond Brown.
And I'm Mandy Yeomans. At First Southern Bank, our customers are like family. As a locally owned community bank, we're dedicated to helping our clients succeed.
We have loans for every need, whether it's personal or business. We have lines of credit, auto loans, equipment loans, and of course, we offer mortgages. Stop by our bank or call us at 912-588-1010 and see how First Southern Bank can help you.
Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
The following is an exclusive presentation of Jesup Broadcasting, the sports leader in Southeast Georgia.
The world-famous Butch and Bob Show.
World-famous Butch and Bob Show right here on WIFO, 105.5 FM in Jesup, Big Dog Country Radio. Bob, long trip yesterday, but came in on the short end of the stick yesterday.
It's strange. They had two good innings in two games. They scored 7 runs on Saturday in one inning. They scored 7 runs in Game 3 and don't score the rest of the game. But, again, we just trained the base runners on Saturday.
Base runners all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, bases loaded, one out, second and third, no outs. Just couldn't get the key hit, couldn't get anybody home. So
we got to have some timely hits. We could have won the game Saturday easily, and then we could have won the game yesterday. We just got to have those. You got people all over the bases.
It's the only stat you need to hear. 12 stranded base runners. That tells you a story. You strand 12 base runners, most times 9 out of 10, you're not going to win the ball game. So, heck of a job by Logan Scarborough. This young sophomore, 6'7", came in relief in the second inning and pitched 5 shutout innings, which kept us in the ball game, gave us some hope. But he has a bright future, and that was one heck of a performance in the Elite Eight matchup with Lovett by sophomore 6'7" right-hander Logan Scarborough. That was impressive. But I said, had our opportunities, thought for sure we're going to bust it open at one point, but it just didn't happen. That's baseball. It's just a tough pill to swallow because
it is a tough pill because we could have won both of the games so easily. We had a couple of bad innings, and those bad innings did us in, and we just. It's not like we just got shut out there. We had, like you said all the time, 3 ducks in the pond, 3 ducks in the pond, 3 went all over the place. Just could not get that timely hit in several key situations in the second game and the third game.
Yeah, the sad thing, you got to sit back and, I don't think anybody that watched the games or was at in person thought that Lovett was better than Wayne County. So they win. Hats off to them. They're going to the Final Four. But, sometimes you just get beat by a better team, you just tip your cap, say that team was better, but I don't think this team was better. The pitching, it wasn't very impressive. Like I said, we just couldn't get the key hit at the right time. So it's just snake bit the last 2 games. But it is what it is. Like I said, third straight year to the Elite Eight, but there's a lot of talent coming back on that baseball team. They lose 5 seniors. Wish them well, but the future is awfully bright in that baseball program. The talent in that dugout, those young kids, the JV team went 15-3 with a lot of talent, a lot of good pitchers, a lot of talented players. I mean, just it's going to be fun the next several years watching the high school baseball program. It's in good
3
shape.
years in a row in the Elite Eight. We've been to the 4, we've been to the championship, got a great program going, and solid program. It's just hopefully this next year we can get past that Elite Eight and get to the Final 4. But still a very successful baseball program at Wayne County High School.
I had to get with Bert Yergin, some of those 67 guys like Wado. They pop champagne when Wayne County doesn't win a championship like the Miami Dolphins do because they're the only state champions in 67. I had to ask Bert and Wade the next time I said, I don't think they do. Bert, I know. Bert comes, they're supporting these kids. It's a long time.
You want Wayne County. If you're a graduate from there, you want the fellow athletes and fellow teams to do well.
They brought those guys back, and everybody that was back at the day, 67, partner and watched that run, they still tell that story. They had that game where they were playing Walker High School. In Walker High School, they didn't pitch Ronald Bennett, their best pitcher, and Wayne County was losing, but then the rain came, and it all got washed out. And back then, you came back and played the game completely from start to finish, and they put Ronald Penn on the mound. They won the state championship. But Walker High School still has that photo in their 1967 annual with the big puddle and says this close to the state championship. But those
only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
But those guys were talented. Steve Beasley, Wade Odom, Darwin Odom. I'm trying to think who else was on that team. I think Randy Walker was on the team. I mean, Roger Lewis was a freshman on the team. I think Jim and Joe McPippin were on that team. So it's a long time ago, 67 state championship. But Bert Yergin's still one of the most talented shortstops that ever come through the program. And everybody knows how well Wade Odom was. Wade Odom went on and played some minor pro ball. So but it's been a long time. Hopefully, but like I said, it's like I said on the sportscast, you keep kicking that door. Eventually that door's going to get kicked in. But I think they got a great shot in the next several years, especially in this Quad A where you can compete. Don't have to compete against those 5A schools like Loganville. So the future's bright. It was hard. It was a long ride back, just thinking about how close we were to the Final 4. But that's baseball. Like I say, you strain 12 base runners and odds are you're not going to win the game.
I kept waiting for that miracle hit. Here it comes. Here it comes. You know it's coming. It's Wayne County. They're going to get that good hit to bring in 2-3 more runs.
I was reliving the game all the way back. I mean, the inning where we had first and second, nobody out. We had second and third, nobody out. I mean, I just thought for sure we'd get some of those runs home, but just didn't happen. So tip your cap to Lovett, 9-time state champions, but they get a lot of money invested in that program. It's expensive tuition.
I can't believe it's $36,000.
Somebody says higher than that. Somebody says 37. I don't know. It's up there. It's a lot of money.
A private school, $36,000 a year for tuition to go to the
somebody said a lot of those athletes they don't have to pay, that somebody pays for them. So I don't know. But I'm just when you pull off the interstate. When you pull off the interstate on West Paces Ferry Road, because it's schools like 3 miles off the road, as soon as you pull off that interstate, all you see is money. That is a rich neighborhood.
Rich neighborhood, huh?
I mean, it's the rich and famous, and that is one fine neighborhood. Wow. And that is one fine school. I mean, it is unbelievable, the money in that school. But it is what it is. But hats off to the kids, like I said. And again, I just want to thank the Home Run Club for all the support they give. Going off these road trips are expensive. Thanks to all the businesses around town that provided meals, the family that provided the movie tickets.
Yeah, somebody provided movie tickets for them to go see that new Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm sure they enjoyed that.
Kids said that was one of the nicest movie theaters they ever been to. So they had a good time. They had a full day, but again, just hats off to everybody who supported the program. And it's amazing what our community does for our athletic kids in all sports. I mean, without these booster programs, they don't have a program. So
right. Well, we've been at it for 3 months. I was looking back on the schedule this morning. We started on February 7th.
Right. That's what I told some parents after the ball game.
Now we're all the way to the 3 months.
You put all that time and effort into it. They really, the kids themselves started in January, right after Christmas.
Yeah, they start right after school.
But the season started in February 7th. I think was the first game. 30 plus games. The trip to Atlanta. good competition. The big one over Benedictine. So a lot of highlights, a lot of good memories. But we'll get ready for next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's the only spring sport that's still going right now is golf, getting ready for state.
Yeah, golf's both the women and men are going to state. I think some track athletes are going to state as well. I think they qualified.
Those qualified to go to state.
They qualified to go to state. Good. So they got to get the details on that. But the spring football game's coming up a week from Friday. Graduation's right around the corner, so the school year's winding down.
Yeah, we're down in our final 3 weeks.
Right. Got to get with high school principal Brett McDaniel, get the details of the honors night. They always have the honors night before graduation. Right. So a lot going on in the high school, winding another school year down. Hard to believe it's about to end.
Yeah, May's very, very busy for the staff and the students and the administrators there at any school as you're closing down the year, getting everything wrapped up. Going to wrap up that year, and then, of course, Friday week, we'll be having that scrimmage game, right?
Right.
For Wayne County football. They're in practice right now.
And practice is, I said, I only made practice one day. That was last week, but, I mean, all I saw was college coaches everywhere, and Coach Shaw said more were coming in every day. So there's a lot of talent on that football field, and a lot of colleges want that talent to head their way. So it's been fun to watch all these kids get this recognition. Like I said, Tavion Wallace, Trevin's brother, is just going to be a junior this year, but he's already got a bunch of offers. Matthew Fuller's the big star, and he's getting a lot of offers, and finally getting some Division I offers as well. So, like I said, talked to that Minnesota running back coach, and he was just drooling. He said he wasn't bad, but there's a lot of schools that want him back. The question is, where does he wind up? So, but again, luckily we got a head football coach that been through all that with a lot of players, and he can guide them and help them make those decisions. So, but it has been fun watching over 100 kids out there in that program. It's going to be another good year.
Yep.
Kids are excited. Forward to the next Coach J. Bo Shaw's excited. I mean, just like he said this last year, we're not a one-hit wonder. I mean, this has just begun.
All right. Sounds good. So I'm about to wrap up the school here, and the next thing you know, let's see, what's the date on that? On May 26th is the last day of school. That'll be graduation, and they'll wrap up the school year, and the next thing you know, they'll be back in action in August, getting ready for the 23-24 school year. And, of course, most of those athletes during the summer will be doing their best to get bigger, faster, stronger in that weight room out there on the track, doing their thing.
We've talked it many times. Like I said, things have changed. It's a year-round sport. Like I said, when we played or competed, we did the season, then we were done. We didn't know all about this year-round program stuff.
I know my grandsons, 4 of the 5, because the young ones are still young, go to Wayne Christian Academy, and I was picking up the middle grandson last week to take the swim, and for one of those swim teams, and I asked him where his 2 older brothers were, Maddox and Mason. And he said, well, they're across the street over there, which would be over at Bill Morris Park, running. Right. And training and for cross country. So when I picked up my oldest grandson yesterday, Maddox, to take the swim, I asked him, I said, do y'all have any meets going on? He said, no, we're just staying in shape for next cross country next fall. Right. So they run twice a week to stay in shape with the coach. So when the foundation you lay right now is going to be how successful you are in the next season. So you and I never did that when we were in track and cross country and stuff like that. We didn't start training until a few weeks before the season. Now they stay in constant shape, just a couple of days a week, and do that. But if you're going to compete, you got to do that these days. It's just the way it is.
In just about every sport.
Every sport's that way. And then of course you got a lot of these, traveling teams that are people on these days from every type of sports you can think of, from baseball, softball, soccer, swim. They all have these traveling teams, private teams that get with other teams and compete against each other. That doesn't really have anything to do with schools. It's just a private thing there to keep these kids' skill levels up.
And all these kids play travel ball in the summertime, so there's just a lot going on. A lot more activities than there were back in the days.
Yeah, back in the days, we didn't have all that kind of stuff.
I'll tell that funny story. My sister in Virginia, they said her son, who's my nephew, is now at Florida for his sophomore year, almost in the sophomore year. When he was in high school, I said he was a pretty good football player, good quarterback, had a lot of, good highlights, but unfortunately his senior year got derailed by COVID, so he didn't get any offers, because they didn't have any tape of his senior year. So he decided, as his dad was a Florida graduate, he was a Florida fan his entire life, so he decided to go to Florida. But he was a good high school baseball player as well. So my sister called one day and says, "Hey, tell me about this travel ball." Well, I don't know. My phone's ringing off the hook. These people are calling. They want Jack to play travel ball. I said, well, if you like going to a ballpark on all weekend long and spend a bunch of money in a motel and spend a bunch of meals, you better sign up. She said, what? I said,
it's usually during the summer and you're sweating out there.
I said, that's what travel ball is. You show up at a ballpark, you play all day Friday, sometimes you play Sunday. She says, the heck with that. We're not doing that. I said, well, I'm glad you called. She had no idea.
Come on, Bob. Why did you paint roses around it? Why make it sound bad?
Because she had 2 daughters that were, she had to take with them. I don't think they want to spend their whole summer at the ballpark.
Yeah.
So, but he didn't play travel ball. But he was a heck of an athlete. Like I said, he's having the time of his life down there. And like I said, he's a diehard Gator fan. So got to see him a couple weeks ago down there in Gainesville. So he's doing well, but he was, like I said, unfortunately COVID, and that happened to a lot of athletes around the country. Like I said, COVID just wiped out their season.
Right.
No tape, so they didn't get the opportunity to move on to the next level. So, but he's having fun. Like I said, he's enjoying life down in Gainesville. It's a beautiful campus down there.
It's a what?
Beautiful campus. It's really nice down there.
I say so. I mean,
just
you got Florida stuff all over.
All college campuses are pretty nice. The scenery is real nice at the ballpark.
Yeah, the scenery is real nice.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, those sceneries walking around looking real good, huh?
Yeah, that's a nice baseball facility they got down there. That was nice.
We've got a baseball player playing in Georgia right now.
Yeah, Luke Boyd. They redshirted him, unfortunately.
Oh, they redshirted him? I didn't hear you say anything about him.
He ruined my trip. I said that. I planned that trip. I told that story. When Luke signed at Georgia, I said, my nephew's down there in Florida. I said, called my sister. I said, man, I got a great idea. We'll schedule a trip down to the Gainesville. You can come see Jack. We'll see a baseball game. I'll get to see Luke. I said, I'll introduce you to the Boykin family. It'll be a great trip. Well, we planned that trip, bought the tickets. She bought the plane ticket. Everything was booked. And then the season begins, and Luke gets redshirted. So guess what? When you're redshirted, you don't travel. So
Luke had to sit it out. We still had the trip.
Yeah, so I had to go by the dugout and yell at Coach Strickland, "Where's Boykin at?" They're all looking at me like, "Yeah,
back in Athens."
I promise they don't have 9 better players than Luke Boykin, but again, he'll play next year. So,
okay.
But that it kind of ruined the trip. But I still had to go.
Still had to go anyway. At least I got to watch.
That was the weekend of the Rogers Cup, and I was trying to get out. I said, I can't get out of this. I got to go. So I had a family commitment, but we had a good time. I said it was good. Went to Spurrier's restaurant.
He's got a restaurant down there?
Yeah, it's really nice. They got the Heisman Trophy, all his rings. I mean, the girls softball team from Georgia was in
down there.
Yeah, well, he's there several times. The first time my brother-in-law and sister went, they had a picture with him. He was at the restaurant. They got pictures with Spurrier. He was signing copies of his book and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, it's a nice restaurant. Okay. Great. The food was excellent.
Just a general overall menu?
All kinds of stuff.
All kinds of food.
Seafood, burgers. I mean, you name it, they've got it. But it's a nice restaurant right down there in Gainesville.
Ate there, Bob.
I've eaten here twice now.
Oh, Bob.
The food's good.
We know you think with your stomach.
That's right. As long as the food's good. The service was great. It's a nice restaurant. I told Mark Miller at the golf course, he's a big gate. I said, you need to take a trip. You'll enjoy it. I mean, because it's got all the it's got the Heisman Trophy there and all his rings and all his different, his NFL career is highlighted. I mean, it's a real nice restaurant down there in Gainesville.
Kind of like Rocky's restaurant for he has in the Rocky movies there.
And like I said, Spurrier apparently shows up a lot. They said he's there a lot during the weekend. So, but he wasn't there that weekend. So, but the first time my brother-in-law and sister went, when they took him down there to get him settled in his freshman year, they ran into Spurrier and got pictures with them, and that was. I mean, that
would you do that, Bob?
No, I don't think I need my picture taken with Spurrier.
The guy that was going to jump over the side, pull his visor off during the Georgia-Florida game?
You got to draw the line. Like I said, I tell that story. First time I ever saw Spurrier live was the year he threw that 68-yard bomb up 50 whatever, and they beat Georgia in Athens. Like that was the year they said they only moved the game from Georgia-Florida because of the Olympics, and Sanford Stadium had to be. They took the hedges out and brought so they had a home-and-home series. So Spurrier.
Plus they were doing the renovations.
Yeah, so the Gators come to Athens, and like I said, he's up 56 to whatever. He throws a 60-yard bomb. You know, so we go to the press conference. I said, this ought to be fun because people, Georgia fans, Georgia Reds were just fuming like, how in the world can you throw a bomb up 56 to whatever? And he sits there, and he comes in his podium and sits down there. He's got this big grin on his face. And sure enough, the first question from one of those AJC reporters was, Coach, why in the world would you throw a 68-yard bomb up 56 to whatever? You know, what's the purpose of that? And he doesn't even hesitate. He says, I'm glad you asked that question. I did my homework and found out that no other coach had scored 60-plus against Georgia in Athens. I thought he'd be the first coach to do it. Thanks for asking that question. Had the answer.
He had it ready, huh?
And then I saw a documentary on Florida football, and Chris Collinsworth, who played for him, told about how that week in practice he told the Gators they were going to score 60 because he wanted to, so, you know, he always had that line. They said, why is he running the score up? He said, my job is to run my offense. Your job is to stop it. You don't want to get blown out. Stop it.
Stop it.
But I'll never forget that press conference. I was just like,
that is funny.
This guy's he's different. Because Dooley would always come in and he'd make Vanderbilt sound like the greatest team in America.
I know. Well, he wasn't good at it as Vince Dooley was, though.
That's what I meant. Vince was poor mouth. That's what I thought.
Vince.
I mean. That's what I was used to when I first got there. Vince was the head coach, and he'd go to his press conference. We're playing Vanderbilt 0-10, and he'd go, they're the greatest team in slice.
They got this athlete, they got that athlete. They just had some little misfortunes here, but
we'll be fortunate to win. I'm going, Coach, we're favored by 42. What are you talking about? But that was Vince Dooley. He poured my Georgia all the time, not Spurrier. Spurrier liked to be favored by 35. He'd make sure he beat that point spread.
All coaches have their different personalities and techniques.
I'll never forget that press conference. That was a day I'll never forget. Because he didn't even hesitate. He had the answer right there. He was expecting the question.
He was expecting it. Yes, sir.
That's why he threw the bomb.
He wanted those points. We got a text in a little bit ago that says, "Good morning, Butch and Bob. Thank you both for your hard work." And that kind of sums up, in just a nutshell there, of all the text messages we received yesterday and today. And I'm just going to read that one because I'm not going to go into all the other ones that we received about our hard work and the good job we do and all that kind of stuff. But good morning, Butch and Bob. Thank you for your hard work. And we appreciate them sending that text message in and listening to us, like those tons of other text messages we received over the last couple of days, thanking us for our work and doing what we do here on the Butch and Bob Show.
Like I said, I take a lot of pride in providing this news and sportscast every day. So, to say it's half true just struck a nerve. I was thinking about all the stuff we've done, all the investigative reporting. I've covered murder trials all the way back from the Joneses murders, dealt with a lot of attorneys, a lot of district attorneys, a lot of judges. I don't think anybody's ever complained about a half-true story. Have you ever got a complaint about that, Butch?
No.
So, like
I've had people talk to me and complain to me about some of the news stories. I said, if you can prove that he's not telling the truth, then I will have a conversation with him. And not once in 31 years now have I ever had anybody who has complained, and I tell them, if you can prove to me that he's not telling the truth and that cannot back up what his news report is or sports report is with facts, then I will talk to him about it. And most of them are just getting stuff off their chest because they didn't like what you said.
Like I said, if I'm reporting half truths, just fire me today. Come on. I said he took a pot shot. Says us in the press center only reported. I was amazed when he said we're to blame for the lack of economic development. But as I tell all my friends, we don't make it. We just report it. We don't make the news. We just report the news. So that's what we try to do every day. And I said, I take a lot of pride in it. And I said, and especially since the paper only comes out one day a week. The paper used to come out twice a week. So when they went to 1 day a week, we got a lot more listeners tuned in. I mean, if you want the local news and sports, I mean, this is basically the only place to get it on a daily basis. So I take a lot of pride, put together the news and sportscast, and I said, I'll stand by my 40 years of work.
And we back up our news stories in sports with facts. We double check our facts. We make sure everything's correct. Unlike social media, that people can put anything on there that they want in any type of fashion because there's no fact checking, and sometimes you don't even know who posted it.
I was just thinking over the years, some of the investigative reporting we've done, we ran out a crooked chief tax appraiser who was stealing money. We exposed
allegedly.
They got convicted for it.
Okay,
so
I'm still going to say allegedly.
We exposed a sex ring where law enforcement officers were pulling over kids and arresting them for drugs, and the woman would come down and they would offer the woman to let the kid go if they'd have sex with them. They videotaped that sex down at the drug office. We exposed all that, talked to Richard Deere and David Deere. They can tell you all about how that investigative reporting led to convictions and those people being arrested. We ran out a crooked football coach and his wife for stealing money from the school system. I mean, there's been a lot of investigative reporting done on this radio station over the years that I take a lot of pride in. So, like I said, I'll stand behind my record. I'll stand behind my 41 years of service here to the news business. And I said I got my degree from UGA, and I think my professors taught me pretty well how to do a news story.
Someone just texted in and says, if you want a straightforward, non-filtered answer to a question or situation, just ask Bob Morgan. You may not like it, but you can bet it's accurate and truthful. That's what fair reporting is about.
Like I said, everybody makes mistakes. And I said, just a while back, they called in about that. Did we play Trinity Christian? And my memory just failed me. But when I saw J-Bo Shaw at the baseball game that night, I said, "Did we play Trinity Christian this year?" I don't remember. He said, "Yeah, we beat them." So yeah, I corrected that. So
you did correct that because you were wrong about that. People said you need to apologize. We did play Trinity and got beat.
Right. People got a kick out of that. Like I said, I'm getting old. My memory is not as good as it used to be. But I mean, that in the grand scheme of things,
that morning, Bob.
Yeah, I just didn't think we played them.
We did.
I know. That's what I found out when I saw J-Bo that day at the baseball game.
Yeah, we did play them.
So I had egg on my face.
It made sense we played them. Since we played them in baseball and playoffs, we would have played them in football and playoffs.
I had egg on my face that day. So,
yes, sir. No big old egg all over that face.
It is what it is.
And someone just texted in, says, Wayne County graduates in metro Atlanta appreciate Big Dog Country. We may have lost the series to love it, but it was awesome to have the Jackets in town. And so, when we have these Wayne County baseball games and football games and softball games, and we air them, of course, locally, but we also stream them, a lot of Jacket fans throughout the South and the country, let's tune in.
And people getting a kick out of that. I looked over and saw Del Keith, and for some reason I had him at Prime South Bank instead of the IDA director. So he texted me. People were calling him saying, "When did you go to work for Prime South?" I said, I think I had Bobby Lamb on my mind. But anyway, I looked over there, Dale and his brother were there, and I said, "Hey, there's Del Keith in Atlanta. He's up there. Works at Prime." And so he was texting me, like, "When did I go to work for Prime?" I don't know where I came up with that. So like I said, I'm getting old. I can forget things. But I try to take pride in the daily newscast and sportscast. So I said, I'll stand behind my 41 years. I said, I haven't been fired yet. But if I do start reporting half truths, just fire me today.
Okay.
Just
all right, Bob. When you get that, we'll take you down to the senior center.
Right. Exactly. Right.
It's a paradox that the some of our highest rated Butch and Bob shows have been county commissioners from the Scriven area. Shag. And now Kevin.
Shag was a class. I'll never get the time we had Shag on that day. And he was on a roll. And I had a friend of mine call me. He said, "Man, I had to stop and pull over the road. I was losing the signal." He said, "I was down going to Sports Savannah." He said, "I just had to stop and pull over. It was so entertaining." He said, "I couldn't miss it."
Shag was always entertaining.
Shag was always entertaining.
Always entertaining. Yeah. Now, the most hits we've ever had on our webpage when it comes to Butch and Bob's show is your interview with former District Attorney Jackie Johnson in May of 2020. That one had over 4,000. 4,000. We're up to around 1,300 right now on the Butch and Bob show from yesterday. But that one was over 4,000. Of course, that affected a lot more people. a lot of counties. I know that radio stations, newspapers and television stations in Jacksonville, Atlanta, tuned into it. Listened to it on the website.
Yeah, they were all jealous we were able to get Jackie Johnson on the show
because she knew she was going to be treated fairly on here.
Right. Well, I asked Kevin that question. And I don't think we ever treat anybody unfairly on this show. I mean, we want people to go. That's the thing that bothers me about Richard's reprimand is I invited him, and I'll stick to that story. I invited him to explain the rapid response position, which Kevin yesterday adamantly said wasn't on the agenda to remove. But we got the agenda. We read the agenda. That's exactly what it said: to consider and approve removal of the rapid response position. I thought he did a good job explaining what the position was, and I still went back and listened to Richard's interview several times. I still don't see where he said anything wrong. They talk about the lawsuit. The lawsuit was printed on the front page of the newspaper in detail, and so it's public records. But again, I told Kevin, and I'll say it again, the only thing they said on that show, and I listened to it again, about the lawsuit was we're trying to avoid any other lawsuit. And he was complimentary of the commissioner, saying they had the work session, they're trying to do the best to. And like we said yesterday, the only thing we really are concerned with is what everybody's concerned with when it's an emergency and you have to call 911 and you need an ambulance. You're hoping that an ambulance shows up. And if that's not the case in Wayne County, they need to correct that today, not next week, not next year, not next month, today, because that is important in Wayne County. And he says they've got that coverage. Thank God they do, because, I mean, when you start having that pain in your chest, or you have an emergency at home and you call 911, you expect an ambulance to show up and get you where you need to be.
And one thing we didn't talk about yesterday was the fact that I thought, from talking to Richard, that the overall goal is to try to get 3 ambulances, full staffed ambulance on 12-hour shifts here. So there's always ambulances on duty to get to that point where we don't have 2.5, and then a rapid response person who can't take somebody somewhere and don't have all that. So if you could get to that 3 full-time ambulances, and that would be good. But I know from talking to some folks yesterday after the Butch and Bob show that they feel that when a department is involved in a lawsuit, the EMS with that situation that happened a while back, where the person was not taken apparently to the hospital quickly enough, or whatever the case may be. I don't know what the details of the lawsuit is about. They just feel that department heads, if their department is involved in lawsuit, they should not be talking to the media, whether it's radio, newspaper, social media, whatever, because they may slip up, they may say something that could affect the lawsuit itself. So they just feel that they were just trying to show the fact that if you're a department head and your department is involved in a lawsuit of any type, refrain from speaking to the press. If you need comments made to the press, then have the commissioners do it, because they are the ones that are legally able to do that. So that's what was explained to me yesterday on the reason why they reprimanded, because it just shows the fact that you don't want department heads talking to the press if their department is involved in a lawsuit.
Yeah, they're just grasping at straws. I'll stick to what I said yesterday. He didn't get reprimanded for being on the show. He got reprimanded because he didn't like what he said on the show. So that's all just a bunch of junk. So, I mean, like I said, I gave him a layup.
But that wasn't from a county commissioner.
Just rescind the I still feel bad. The guy's got 20 years of service. Yeah, and he was there when I remember Bobby Kickletter. Bobby Kickletter's one of the greatest EMS people we had in Wayne County over the years. God bless him. He's no longer with us. But he came up under Bobby Kickletter, and like I said, Bobby Kickletter taught a lot of those guys the ropes. But, again, just rescind the reprimand and be done with it. I'll say it again. The bottom line, the whole issue was that 5-page policy is all about social media, and that's the rub I've got. We're not social media, and that's a fact. So I still stick to that story. I think
we
it's
do
just
appreciate,
a bunch of garbage.
From what I understand yesterday, that Kevin knew that he was probably going to beat up a little bit yesterday, and but he still came on anyway. And we appreciate, we appreciate him coming on.
I still like him. Like I said, I don't have nothing
Kevin's a great, Kevin. We like Kevin.
Like I said, I mean,
we've had him on many times.
I just think he's done some things that they're head shakers.
And so,
like asking a lady out in the audience for legal advice when you got a legal attorney sitting at the table. He admitted he took action in his own hands by changing the requirements of the job title for county administrator. I think it's wrong. I think you got to have approval by that full board. I mean, there's just things that have happened.
Situations like that in the past where you've had chairman of the county commission change things and not tell all the commissioners they've done that, and the other commissioners find out when they show up at the meeting.
It's not a good thing. So I just think several things have just been head shakers. I'm glad he came on. I said he's more than welcome to come on.
We appreciate it. But when you left yesterday to get ready to go to Atlanta to Lubbock, Kevin and I still had the opportunity to talk some more, and he did have a list of some of the accomplishments that they were working on and things they're doing and so forth, and they're very proud of their hire of their new county administrator, and all looking forward to trying to move the county forward. But once again, I want to thank Kevin for coming on yesterday. It takes a little guts to come on sometimes when you know that it's not maybe a situation where everything might not go as smooth as you'd like. But, Bob, let's see here. Anything else going on? I think that's about it.
That's about it. I said school board meets today. They get that middle school athletic topic
again. School board meets today?
Yeah, 6 o'clock work session. So we'll see if they make a decision on that. Like I said, there's a proposal by the athletic director, Justin McDonald, assistant AD, J. Butch Shaw, 2 middle school athletic directors, Jamie Knight and Sheila Brockington, made the proposal several weeks ago to the Board of Education, asking that they merge the athletic programs, and no decision's been made yet, and we'll see if they make a decision today.
Well, if they do make a decision today, it really comes down to: do you trust the people that you've hired? The county, the school board. You've got the athletic director. You've got the coaches, all involved there, all agreeing that the best thing to do is to combine those sports teams. They feel it's best for those athletes in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and they also feel it's best for the future of the athletics at Wayne County High School. If you hire these people, they've got the expert opinion. They're the ones involved in these students every single day. And if you trust the people that you've hired to make the right decisions, and they all agree on it and want to move forward in this direction, to me, it's a no-brainer on which way to vote.
For a man that's been covering meetings for 40 years, sometimes common sense just doesn't come into the equation. So we'll see if it plays out.
Do you trust your employees? Do you trust your experts?
Right. Yeah. Like I said, it just be like.
I know when I got my tech guide here, I trust for him to take care of the computers like it's supposed to.
It's just be like an art teacher walking in there and saying, "Look, in order to provide art to our students, we need this, this, and this." The board would say, "Sure, we understand." I mean, that's and like you said, these are the people you put in place. These are people you hired to run your athletic department. They're telling you this is the best interest of the kids involved.
If they didn't think it was, they wouldn't be making this.
We'll see if they listen.
They wouldn't be making this proposal if they didn't think it was best for the kids.
Like I said, and I said it last week, I'll say it again. I can promise you, Justin McDonald and the athletic director, assistant AD, J. Butch Shaw, have nothing but the best interests at heart for all kids involved in the athletic program, period.
If they thought it was best for the athletics at middle school and high school, they just leave things like they are. Exactly. They're trying to improve, trying to get more kids participating and have winning teams.
And like I said, when Justin McDonald came on the show weeks ago, I think he laid it out perfectly. Like I said, they're losing kids. 6th graders can't compete with 8th graders. A lot of 6th graders make teams, but they never see the field, so they get lost in the program. So I said the middle school conference is, some of these schools have a lot more numbers than Wayne County does, so they can't compete with those. And they just don't like the rivalry between the 2 middle schools. They think it's not a good thing. So those are just 3 of the many reasons they gave in the proposal. So the proposal's out there, and the board members have it.
So school board members trust the advice of the people that you hired to run the athletics.
Let's hope.
Okay. Well, Bob, you have a good day.
See you.
All right, the world-famous Butch and Bob Show right here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jesup, brought to you by O'Quinn & Associates, Murphy Builder Supply, Van's Barbecue, and First Southern Bank.